Hey guys, welcome back. Origami here, bringing you another one of our set reviews. This is going to be the GGN set review. This is actually going to be in the set after Unbroken Bonds for us, so it's going to be a little bit before we get this in the States. But I just want to talk about all the cards because they just got revealed, and it never hurts to look at cards ahead of time, kind of give you an idea of where the decks are going. And I just really like looking at new cards. Like, what can I say? So once again, as always, shout out to PokeBeach for the awesome website. I'm currently streaming this as we're recording this, so hello. This is just so we can get some chat interaction. You guys might not be able to see the chat just because like it looks ugly, but let me see if I can. Chat, if you want to say hi now while you can, feel free to. It's kind of like there's not really a good place to put the chat just based off the way it is. It looks good on PCGO, but not on this. But anyways, I'll leave it there for a little bit before we remove it. Before we get into the video, don't forget to drop a like if you like the content. The like button loves you, so why don't you show the love? So show some love in return. Answer the comment question of the day being, what's your favorite card from the set? Of course, you have a chance to win a couple of codes. Don't forget to check out our sponsors at Guardian Gaming and our other sponsors at me. I can just do this directly from here. Patreon. Don't forget to support the Patreon if you have not already. I think I made the link permanently in the description. So we have 3 Patreons. It's shout outs to all my Patreons here. Can I actually look at who's my Patreons right now? Is that a thing I can do? I don't know if I can do that. I know I have the email access to it, but whatever. We'll do this at a different time. The point is, support me on Patreon, all that good jazz. And I think that's it. And also follow me on Twitch, which is ab.aurabomb, I believe. I can never remember my own username. It is Orabomb AB or ab.aurabomb. Link in the description. That's what matters. Let's go ahead and talk about this now. We've been daddling for too long. And yeah, I think that's enough to keep the chat off the screen. And let's talk about this set. I'm just going to go over all the cards. Just try not to keep this too long, but I also want to make sure I don't miss anything. Carablast. Alright, boring. Magmar. I mean, I like a good Magmar. Oh, the artwork is beautiful. Bro, look at that art. That looks amazing. Look at him just walking up to you. This is like straight anime. Like, as anime as it gets. This man's fuming. He's mad. Look at him. Holy crap, it's so cool. I want this card just for the art. I love it. Smoke. Every set has like one card's artwork that I just love so much, and that's just it for me. Smoke Bomb, 10 damage. Then Pokemon tries to attack you during your next turn. Flip a coin. If Tails attack does nothing. It's pretty. It only does 10 damage, but I mean the attack's good. It's always nice to have a detect-like ability. And then another Smoke Bomb from Magmortar. Doesn't look nearly as cool because I actually don't like Magmortar as a Pokemon. But if the defending Pokemon tries to attack you, once again, yada yada. And then Flamethrower for 120, standard Flamethrower. Heatran GX, one of the most disappointing GX Pokemon in the set. 190 HP. So HP is not too bad at all. Burning Road, once during your turn, if this Pokemon is on your bench and became your active Pokemon this turn, you may move any number of Fire Energy cards attached to your Pokemon to this Pokemon. So just like Xernea's Prism and stuff like that. It's cool. I mean, it helps you accelerate energies to this Pokemon, especially if you like just put this in Bucephalon and put a bunch of energies on your Nagas, move it to the active, boom, you have a Pokemon ready to attack. The problem is his attack only does 130, which is just pitiful damage. Like, for 3 energies, you're doing 130. That's not good. It's not good for, like, a Pokemon that's just not super interesting. You know what I mean? It's like, there's nothing else really going on for it. Heat Bomber GX for 1 energy does 50 damage times the amount of fire energy attached to this Pokemon. So I guess you can take 1 huge knockout with Heat Bomber. Which definitely isn't bad in Bucephalon because sometimes all you want to do, like you have your GX attack in Bucephalon that can just like flip and take a prize, but maybe you want to take like a 2 or even 3 prize turn, and you have a bunch of energies on the board. You can switch into this Heatran, take a huge knockout, go back into your Bucephalon, and then move all the energies off of Heatran off of play, so that you can take, so that you can still take another big knockout the following turn with Bucephalon. Excuse me. So it's a different GX attack you could use in this deck. Not to mention, just like it's not bad. I'm just keep it like that. It's definitely not bad. It's just not the most ideal Pokemon in the world. There's nothing. The only thing appealing about it is its GX attack that pairs with its ability. But that's about it. Moving on though. By the way, chat. If I said anything that you guys think I forgot, let me know and I'll just mention it. We got Chandelure. So Chandelure is worth mentioning because we have that Duskstone card that lets you that lets you evolve directly into the Pokemon, even if it's your first turn. But it only works on the Lampent in this case, so it only works on your second turn. But it essentially completely replaces Rare Candy, I think. Let loose, search your deck for a fire Pokemon, put it into your hand, so it's good for getting a Lampent. Lampent is live coal, 40, discard an energy from this Pokemon, but more importantly, Chandelure. Now, Chandelure has been getting a little bit of hype. 140 HP, its attack does 10 damage, discard the top 5 cards of your deck, this attack does 60 more damage for each Pokemon you discarded, then put any number of discarded fire Pokemon onto your bench. Now, I don't know if this says may, because sometimes the translations don't let you know. But if Chandelure does say you may put any number of discarded fire Pokemon onto your bench, which we don't really know for sure yet. But if it does say it may, I kind of like this card. If it doesn't say may, it's kind of a whatever card to me. Because, like, what if you discard a bunch of, like, fire Pokemon you don't want on your bench? Are you forced to put them on there? But you can put things like Incineroar, Charizard. I don't really care about the stuff on. This is more interesting for the stage 2, the bigger boys. So Baby Charizard, Incineroar GX, even the new Incineroar, the fire one that increases damage output by 30 for all your Pokemon. So you could do some shenanigans with the Chandelure. It is a 1 fire energy attack as well. The problem is that how do you put fire Pokemon on top of your deck? That's one issue. You're not going to play a deck that plays like a bajillion fire Pokemon, you know what I mean? So I'm not too sure how to make this deck work. But I kind of want to make it work at some point, because just being able to set up your board with a Chandelure with a bunch of broken fire types sounds like a lot of fun. But we have to see how it can work first. We don't have any support for it as of yet. But it will eventually, and then this deck will be super fun. Alolan Raichu GX. We finally have an Alolan Raichu GX card, but this one's a tag team, so still waiting for my solo Alolan Raichu GX. But that aside, I can't complain too much. 260 HP electric type Pokemon, so already has 20 more HP than Pikachu Zekrom. So is it better though? Tandem Shock, 80 damage. If this Pokemon was on your bench and became your active Pokemon this turn, this attack does 80 more damage, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. So let's analyze this deck. This card. This card's broken. I think it completely I don't think it replaces Pikarom, but it easily gets slid into a Pikarom deck. Especially if you're playing Jirachi, you're already playing Switches, you're already playing Escape Ropes, you're already playing Guzmas. It's super easy for you to be constantly switching between this Pokemon and Jirachi, or back into this, or things like that. You can play with Zapdos, because Zapdos also has the same effect, but it's a non-GX Pokemon. Being able to hit 160 while also paralyzing is kind of crazy. We still have access to Electro Powers and stuff like that, so so you can still take your Okos. But this card's really good. It's like super duper good. And like, once again, 3 energy attack cost, not even a big deal. We still have Coco Prism. We still have Thunder Mountain. And you have access to Zapdos as your early game aggressor if you need to start attacking right away, which kind of goes immediately into this deck. So I think this card is super good. Honestly, because I love Pikachu and the Pikachu line so much, I might play this deck. But I don't want to invest into lightning cards, you know what I mean? I don't, because like, you know how I am with my max rarity, right? That's why I've been avoiding playing decks in general. But anyways, I don't have any lightning support secret rares, and I don't think I want to get into it, so whatever. Lightning Ride GX, 150 damage plus. It switches Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. If this Pokemon has at least 2 extra lightning energies attached to it, this attack does 100 more damage. So you can hit it for 250. I think that's where the Pikarom comes into play, where you can probably set up a better GX attack. You also have access to Coco Prism, Zero Aura GX. I think this is the GX attack you don't use. But the first attack is just a beautiful attack. I think it's super good. Doing 160 while also paralyzing is strong. Of course, once again, I think Pikarom is still like better, quote unquote, because it can accelerate energies while doing a straight 150. But if you're fighting against other tag team decks, then this card could be really good because you can paralyze the tag team. And even though there's a lot of switching cards in format right now, forcing your opponent to switch is always a good thing. Start burning those cards and things like that. So I do like this card a lot. Speaking of which, we have regular Pikachu and regular Alolan Raichu as a card. First of all, this artwork is beautiful. Thank you very much. And Alolan Raichu GX is just Magnezone fodder, right? Electric Rain, discard as many lightning energy from this Pokemon as you like. For each energy discarded this way, choose one of your opponent's Pokemon and do 30 damage to it. So obviously, if you get rid of 10 energies, you can do 300 damage. It's not very good because 30 damage is actually kind of low. I'm not going to lie. You can knock out a couple GXs, but you're not going to be knocking out any tag team GXs in one hit. We don't really have many ways to put electric energies back into our hand outside of Fisherman, and Fisherman's only going to give you a net 120 damage. So you still have access to electric support, right? But that only works on the active. This is cool because you can knock out bench Pokemon. So I don't think it's very good, but it's definitely something I'm going to be playing because you still have that Magazone that's an electric type. So I like it. I still like it. I just don't think it's going to be that great. Trap Bolt, Stunfisk. If your active Pokemon remaining HP is more than this Pokemon's remaining HP, attack does 30 more damage. Okay, whatever. Thundurus. I love me some Thundurus. Oh, look, Tornadoes in the background. It's kind of cool. 120 HP. Gale Thunder, 20 damage. If you have Tornadoes on your bench, this attack does 50 more damage. So a lightning type attack that does 70 base damage is not bad. If you hit things for lightning weakness, you can Oko some stuff with Choice Band, right? You hit 140, which is going to knock out most things with lightning weakness that is weak to lightning. Not to mention you still have electro powers. And if you have Choice Band, you're doing 200 with weakness, which once again you have electro powers. I mean, if there's ever any lightning weak decks that this is worth taking advantage of, then I'd say play this card. It's not bad. DCE being able to do that much damage is not bad at all. Lightning Strike 120, this attack does 40 damage to one of your bench Pokemon. So one of your own bench Pokemon? That sucks. Not super great. Moving on. Alolan Marowak. More Marowak. I feel like there's an Alolan Marowak every set, and yet there's still not a good one. We even have a GX, and there's still not a good one. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's one of the best Alolan Pokemon, but come on, bro. Soul Breaker. Discard the top card of your opponent's deck. If the discard card is a Pokemon, this attack does damage equals the HP of that Pokemon. Just like how Chandelure works, like this attack is actually really, really good because there's tag teams now. But how do you put Pokemon on top of your opponent's deck? That's what I'm saying. Like you can't control this damage output. But if there was a way to put cards back on top of your opponent's deck, then this card would be amazing. Because being able to imagine like discarding a tag team, like Pikachu over here, hitting them for 260 for free is kind of wild. But because it's uncontrollable, it's not really good. Bone Knock does 60 damage, pretty lame. Moving on. Drifloon. Cute artwork, I guess. He's smiling, which is kind of weird now that I'm looking at it. I don't know if I like that. And Drifblim. Tag Carry. Once during your turn, you may switch your active tag team Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. Oh, so it's like obvious synergy with with this card. That's what they're going for. I mean, it's definitely not bad. Because that's like immediate switch into Jirachi, and then you can retreat the Jirachi into this card again. So that could be something worth looking into. You can get it with treasures, so you can get like Marshadow and other good cards. So, oh, by the way, welcome back, Synchro. There are cards that let you look at the top 4 or 5 cards of your opponent's deck, but still, Marrow could be exactly. I'm not a big fan of that. I think this card might just go into Raichu focused decks. I don't see why you wouldn't go into. Do we have any other good Drifloons? Like I know there's one that like moves damage counters from your bench to your opponent. But like you don't really need it. I think I'd rather be playing more like item switch cards than this. But it's still pretty cool for sure. Something to look into. Giratina, another Giratina, another amazing artwork, and its ability, Dimension Talon. When you play this card from your hand to the bench, you may discard special energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. So another E-Hammer, just like Kartana GX, not bad. Fade to Black, sending damage your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. Again, not bad, but not great. The ability is okay. If there's a lot of special energies back in format, you might tech this in because it's searchable with treasure, so that's never a bad thing. But for the time being, it's okay. Muna, look at the top 4 cards of either player's deck and put them back in any order. When Gen 5 first came out, Musharna is one of my favorite Pokemon. I thought it was super cool, and I thought it was really strong just because it was like a really bulky Pokemon that could use Calm Mind. But Musharna is just looking ugly in this picture. I did not want to see his schnoz look like that. Whatever. Rest up. Each player's active Pokemon is now asleep. During your next turn, this Pokemon's attacks do 100 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Bleh. It's pretty boring. Not to mention, like, you can't switch, so you just have to wake up one way or another to attack. Cubone to go the little Marowak from earlier. Savage little creature. Meditite. What is he doing? Oh, he's stretching. Okay, cool. 60 HP. Screaming Headbutt. Screaming Headbutt. I'm just picturing Meditite screaming like, ah, and then giving you a headbutt. Oh, that's scary. You can't use it during your next turn. Probably because he's so tired from yelling at you and then giving you a headbutt. Okay. I mean, doing 40 damage for like a basic, definitely not bad. Diancie and Choice Band means you're hitting 50 more damage, so you're actually hitting 90 which is 180. So you knock out basic fighting type GX Pokemon. Oh, basic fighting weak GX Pokemon. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Metacham, 100 damage. Metacham's so ugly. Meditate, put 4 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon any way you like. Master's Blow, 60 plus damage. If this Pokemon has Black Belt attached, this attack does 60 more damage. Black Belt means if you're behind on prizes, you attack for 1 less fighting energy. As a tool. It's alright, I guess. Like, you hit for 120 for only 1 energy sometimes 2. That's not bad, but it's not great. So moving on. We have the Garchomp line with a Yarn Gibble. Not as good as the Gibbles we have right now, so whatever. Gabite, looking pretty cool. Like Gabite. And then Garchomp. What does Garchomp do? Let's take a look here. First of all, Garchomp's looking beautiful as always. Counter Aura. Oh, it's like they know. It's like they know. If you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent, this attacks do 80 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So if you're losing, you're doing more damage. Not bad. 80 plus, you may discard an energy from this Pokemon. If you do this attack, does 40 more damage. So you're hitting 120, or you're hitting 200. Or 160 or 80. So you're doing 80, 120, 160, 200. And it's a fighting type, so you have access to Diancie. And all the other fighting support like the Stadium and stuff. So this math could add up quite nicely, but it's not worth, I think. Like, there's other stage 2s that have more consistent damage outputs and abilities. So I don't think this card's good. But it's definitely cool, and I'm going to get it because I love Garchomp. Riolu, look at the boy. Look at the boy. He's got a attack called Kick. It's just called Kick. I love it. Look at him. And we got a new Lucario. So I was talking about this in the Discord, but so Lucario is pretty cool. I don't think it's great, but it's interesting. Tag Coach. Your tag team Pokemon take 20 less damage from your opponent's attacks after applying weakness and resistance. So it's specifically for tag teams. Now he's talking about Garchomp Lucario in here, or Garchomp Giratina. Screw that. We got Lucario Melmetal. Now picture this world, right? Picture best case scenario, perfect world scenario. All right, you're playing Lucario Melmetal. I believe it has 260 HP, metal type Pokemon, with a GX attack that is for 1 energy, 1 colorless energy. For the rest of the game, your opponent's Pokemons do 30 less damage to your metal Pokemon. Your opponent's attacks do 30 less damage to your metal Pokemon. So that means Lucario takes 30 less damage from attacks, just from his GX attack alone, right? Then you have Frying Pan, which not only gets rid of the weakness, but also 30 less damage. So it's already minus 60 damage. So now imagine that, but with 4 of these Lucarios on your bench. So imagine a world where you have a Lucario Melmetal in the active that's doing 50, 150 damage at a time, but it's taking minus 140 damage from attacks. Just imagine, you're never gonna get knocked out. You could play regular potion and probably fully heal yourself. That sounds hilarious. Expect that deck when this card comes out, because just taking minus 140 is just too good. It's just too good. It's too funny. Oh, there's a Meloetta. Oh, wait a minute. I knew about this card, right? Tag Yell. Isn't it 20 less damage? Yes, it's 20 less damage. So, like, if you have 4 Lucarios on your bench, so you're taking 80 less damage, and then minus 30 from the Frying Pan and from your GX attack. So 60 plus 80 is 140. So I'm just talking to the chat, guys, but like that's a lot of damage just not being there. Meloetta. Wait, double check here. All right, perfect. Tag Yell, attach an energy card from your hand to one of your tag team Pokemon, whatever. Meteor Step, 30 plus damage. We're going until you get Tails, attack with 30 more damage for each heads. I mean, if you like flipping and you want a Pokemon that's a fighting type attacker for a DCE, there you go. Otherwise, it's kind of whatever. Zygarde. This card makes Zygarde GX really, really good. So I recommend getting your Zygardes now, because this card's ridiculous. As long as this Pokemon's on your bench, your Zygarde's attacks do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. A tad bit wild. Time to invest in those Zygarde GXs. I don't know if Zygarde GX will rotate, so I don't think it will. So I think it's definitely a card worth. I think get yourself 3 Zygarde GX while you can. And whatever cards you need for your Zygarde, because just like how Fiery Flint boosted up in price, I think Zygarde will boost up in price as well. So get yourself your full art Bonnies, get yourself your full art Zygardes, and then get me some for my birthday, which is next year. But get it to me like as an early birthday gift. We got Hoopa, another Hoopa. Evil Admonition, just like the other Weavile. This one does less damage. 20 more damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon that has an ability. So it's not as damaging by any means, because I'm pretty sure Weavile does 50 more damage, but it's a basic. Mind Shock does 80, not affected by weakness and resistance. Overall, I think I would always use Weavile over this Hoopa, just because obviously you can only attack one turn later, but like, because you're a stage 1, but it's so much more worth, because you're doing 50 damage for each ability, not just 20. But if you're in a world where there's a lot of Dark Weak Pokemon, I could see Hoopa being used. What's up, Confused Ray? I need a Zydog GX, please. Dude, straight up. Also, we are currently recording this thing going on, Confused Ray, so hello. Mawile GX. I'm pretty sure that like in a couple streams ago we were talking about how I really wanted a Mawile card because I think Mawile is super dope. There it is. Now, is it good? That 170 HP does not make me happy. Captivating Wink. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may have your opponent reveal their hand, put any number of basic Pokemon you find there onto your opponent's bench. So not bad. It's not a bad ability, especially if you're playing stuff like Giratina, or not Giratina, Gengar Mimikyu that looks at your opponent's hand a lot with like random trainer effects and stuff like that. So you can really know what your opponent has in their head. Excuse me. You can force them to play down cards like Lele and the new Dedenne GX as well. So there's definitely a lot of options, but it's still a really low HP Pokemon. Hustle Bite, 10 damage. This attack does 30 more damage to your opponent's bench Pokemon. And here's where the falling happens, right? This is just not worth it anymore. Like, doing only 30 more damage is just not enough damage. It's on the low side. If your opponent has a full bench, because it's standard, right? So if they have a full bench, you're only hitting them for 150, 160. I guess 190 with a choice band, but like, it's also a 2 energy attack, right? This attack should have been a 1 energy attack, to be 100% honest. And then your opponent can play around it for the most part. It's an okay. It's an okay Pokemon, but it's not great. Big Eater, your opponent reveals their hand, discard all support cards you find there. That's really, really strong. But once again, 2 energy attack means you can't do it turn 1, so it's not as strong. But it's definitely good. Like, I'm not taking a knockout here, so we're just gonna hit you with the Big Eater GX. What's up, Carl? Thank you for the. My friend thinks since Mawile got a GX, so will Sableye. Oh, that'd be cool, actually. Hopefully it's not like super annoying, but that'd be dope if Sableye gets a GX. And thank you, Carl, for the host as always. Let me go ahead and put that on the board for you. Thank you for the support, my dude. Escavalier to go with the Carablast. 130 damage, a certain lance, 80 damage. Your opponent's Pokemon has no damage counters on it. This attack does nothing, so you can only damage weakened Pokemon. It's boring, it's lame. Not super excited. But here is my big boy. Here is my big boy. I love this card so much. I think it's so dope. 270 HP, which, by the way, is as high besides Wailord Magikarp gets when it comes to tag team HP. So I'm going to go on a little rant on this card. I think this card is amazing in Malamar. You guys know I'm a huge Malamar fan. I don't know where else you'd put this card in, but like, you know how we play Ultra Necro, where we use the metal energies and attach to the Pokemon and do the damage, usually Oko damage. I think this card does the same thing, but with a fighting energy and a lot lower attack cost to take Okos. Now, let's talk about this. There's an argument here about which one is better, Ultra Necro or Garchomp and Giratina. So Ultra Necro, 2 prize Pokemon. So that's what it's got that going for it. Infinite damage output, got that going for it, right? So I'm trying to think if there's anything else. It's an Ultra Beast, so even though you probably shouldn't be playing this, you can play Beast Strings and you have access to Beast Energy. All right, I'll give you that. Beast Energy is cool. Beast String is cool, but you're probably not playing Beast Strings in Mali anymore. You really don't need to. Is there anything else? I don't think so. 190 HP is not low. It's not super high anymore, but it's not low. But yeah, so, and you have a really cool GX attack for specifically Lost March. Now, let's talk about Garchomp Giratina. 270 HP, 80 HP higher than Ultra Necro. Already great. Tag team, not great. But because you have so much more HP than Ultra Necro, you have access to Acerola, which is so much better. Because your attack cost is really low, you could probably get away with some cards like Max Pot too, which is something I'm going to be experimenting with this deck so much, guys. I think this deck's going to be amazing. You can experiment with cards like Max Potion. Now, let's talk about the attacks before we get too deep into it. Linear attack does 4 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Not great, not bad though, because we have access to Giratina, which is going to be how you're playing it. The one that puts damage counters on the board. Obviously, if you put enough Giratinas on the board, you can do Snipe, finish them off with linear attack for 1 colorless energy. It's a good way to take some really early game aggression. So I like linear attack. Now, the question is, can we cycle those Giratinas? And the answer is yes, because we have access to Giovanni, which is the new stadium, which is the new supporter card that comes out in Unbroken Bonds, which is next month's set, which says if you can discard any 2 Pokemon on your bench that have no damage counters on them. So you can put Giratinas, damage them on the board, remove them with Giovanni, reuse them if you want to, or keep them in discard pile for the turn, and then cycle the damage output there. It's really easy to do, and you only really need a handful of damage counters throughout the game to really take advantage of this card. Now, Calamity Edge, 160 base damage. So already 160 base is great. If you have access to Choice Band, that means you're hitting 190, which already OHKOs Ultra Necro, for instance. And the majority of GX basic Pokemon you knock out with a Choice Band. So that's really good on its own. Not to mention, you can put things in range of this attack. But more importantly, if they have damage counters on them already, this attack does 80 more damage. So now you're hitting 240. And here's where the question comes into play. Why I think the infinite damage output that Ultra Necrozma has is not as important as I make it sound. And that is, if you're hitting 240, which is, by the way, always going to be at least 250 because you're going to have 1 damage counter on them already, right? Do you really need to hit more? If you need to hit more, you can attach a Choice Band. I think you already play Choice Band just to make sure you can take OHKOs on GX basics like Bucephalon and Ultra Necro and stuff. So you're already playing Choice Band. So now you're hitting 280 if you count the 1 minimum damage cap on your opponent's tag team. I think that's more than enough to OHKO everything in the format besides Magikarp Wailord. And if you need to OHKO Magikarp Wailord, just put an extra few damage counters on it. You have access to linear attack, you have access to your Giratinas. Magikarp Wailord is not going to be OHKOing you by any means. So outside of Magikarp Wailord, you already OHKO everything in the format. I think the ease of using cards like Giratina to put damage counters on the right Pokemon is already good enough. And say that you're in this weird position where your opponent already has no Pokemon with damage counters on it, so you're not taking an OHKO, just hit them with Giratina, the Psychic Giratina, because you already have your Malamars down, you already have your Giratina on the bench. Attack them with Giratina, and then finish them off with Giratina and Garchomp GX. This deck will very easily play Acerola because you are a fat GX, like super fat GX Pokemon that can easily abuse Acerola, so you're going to be putting in Acerola anyways. I think this card's really good. really good. And once again, let's keep in mind that it's only a 3 energy attack, which means that unlike with other variants of Malamars, you only need 2 Malamars down on your bench throughout the game, which opens up your bench space to the Giratinas, Marshadows, Lele's, things like that. You have a lot more bench space to work with. The artwork is sick, and it's Carl's putting it directly into his Meloetta deck. I love this card so much. I think it's so cool. Being weak to Fairy is kind of annoying because of Gardevoir Sylveon GX, but you OHKO Gardevoir and Sylveon GX, so I don't think it matters too much. And once again, just don't play it down. You don't have to, just like any other Pokemon in a Malamar deck list, if you don't need it in that matchup, don't play it down. If you lead with it, that's unfortunate, but it's very unlikely considering the sheer amount of Pokemon you're playing in Malamar anyways. So, there you go. Latias, so you know I'm a big fan because Latios and Latias are up there, top 5 Pokemon. What's it do? Energy Arrow, 20 damage, take the 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each energy attached to that Pokemon. Could be interesting, probably not. Will Granbull see play again? That's a good question. Granbull always like leaves and comes back, so I don't know. Well, what is stopping it from seeing play right now? Marshadow? Until Marshadow rotates, I would say no, because Marshadow is just too good of a card. Speedwing does 100 damage. Whatever. Latios, love him. Alright, now here's a card that I think is kind of cool. Gen 5 Dragons, one of the coolest dragons, like ever, even. Ask you. When your opponent plays an item or supporter card from their hand, prevent all effects of those cards to this Pokemon. Pretty good ability. Fracture. Okay. Guard Press, takes 30 less damage, pretty boring. Okay, here's the cool stuff. 150 HP Haxorus, so kind of low. Just like our current Garchomp, it's kind of low, but pretty cool still. Grinder Up. Once during your turn, you may discard a stadium card and play. If you do, attach up to 3 in any combination of fire and metal energy cards and from your hand to this Pokemon. So you can accelerate energies on this thing pretty easily. 20 damage, attack does 40 more damage for each basic energy attached to this Pokemon. So fire metal, say that you have 3. You're hitting for 130, 40, 120, 130. That seems, I mean, okay, I don't like this card. It's cool in concept, but like, how do you get all those energies into your hand? I guess if you play like exclusively fire cards, fire energies, and just like a handful of metals here and there, you can make it work because you have access to welder and stuff like that, and fiery flint and things like that. So I guess you could still make it work, but it's a stage 2. I think I'd rather play Baby Blacephalon than I would play this Haxorus. So not a huge fan of this Haxorus, but it's definitely really cool. I like the ability of luck. I like the Pokemon a lot. So there you go. Kangaskhan, 130 HP, double draw 2 cards, tag impact. 50 damage times the number of tag team Pokemon you have in play. For 4 energies, it's not bad. If you have a bench full of tag team Pokemon, you're hitting for 250, right? It's not bad. Whatever. It's not great though. Bidoof, and Bibarel. Look at that happy boy. Prevent all effects of your opponent's attacks except damage into this Pokemon. Okay. Amnesia, 60 damage. Choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attack. This Pokemon can't use that attack during your opponent's next turn. Amnesia, pretty underrated attack, can really stop a lot of Pokemon, but overall, pretty lame Pokemon. Oh, this was one of the babies I'm actually really excited for, Munchlax. So, I did test some babies in the videos that you guys will be seeing in the future. I think I like the babies a little bit more than I thought I did. The reason why is because sometimes you're just not going to attack, but because all the babies have free retreat, you can really abuse their abilities, and if they get knocked out, whatever. Like, you have a pivot, and if they don't get knocked out, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I really like the fairy just because it can reshuffle your hand if you needed to, and if you don't flip the heads, then whatever, like no harm, no foul. Pretty cool Pokemon though. I like this ability. Once during your turn, you may flip a coin of heads, put a card from your discard pile on top of your deck. Either way, your turn now ends. Really good mid game if you really just need to set up for game. The problem is that it's a mid game card because that's whenever you want to start putting things on top of your deck. Maybe early game if you find a draw sport and you just need another one, but like for the most part, this card is going to be used mid game, and you don't really care to use the baby's abilities mid game unless you just have nothing on your board, right? The reason why I like the Clefairy in Gardevoir is because you have access to Ribombee, so your opponent can't Guzma up your Gardevoir Sylveon, but in Munchlax you don't really have that unless you're playing this also in Gardevoir to go with the Clefairy. So I mean, it's pretty cool. I definitely want to get them because you can never underestimate these abilities. I thought I definitely underestimated them, and I found out that they're actually not bad, but they're still not amazing, you know what I mean? Bench sitting tag teams with abilities. You think because of Kangaskhan we will get some bench sitting tag teams with abilities? Well, we don't have any tag teams with abilities yet, but we might get them in the future. We'll have to see. We got the Burbs. We got the Burbs, Tranquil, and on Pheasant. Tranquil has no ability, right? Yeah, it looks boring. On Pheasant, Downburst, 90 damage. You may shuffle all cards attached to both active Pokemon into your deck. I'm assuming into their deck, not your deck. Imagine taking your opponent's energies and putting them into your deck. That sounds hilarious. Okay, that's not bad. It's not great though. You're only 80 HP. What? Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Hold on. Oh, they got the cards backwards. I thought I saw this. I was about to say it doesn't make any sense, but yeah, they got the cards backwards. 140 HP. Okay, cool. I don't think it's great, but it's definitely interesting. All right, here's Tornadus to go with Thundurus. Cool. Knuckle Punch for 20, pretty boring. Thunderclap Tornado, 80 damage. If Thundurus is on your bench, attack does 20 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So it's Coco, Flying Flip, but also does 80 to the active. Definitely not bad. I don't hate this card. I think the combo could work if you get some sort of energy acceleration of some kind, so that's pretty dope. Let's go over the trainers, and then we can call this a video. I didn't want this to be too long. Tornadus looks like it was made to be put into theme decks. It even has like theme deck artwork. Tag switch, move 2 energy from one of your tag Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon. So like this just goes pretty nicely into Pikarom, I would say. Maybe not though, I don't know. I mean, you can move like 2 energies from one Pikarom to another Pikarom, so that you can always safely accelerate to 2 different Pikaroms. Reset Stamp has got the community all a titter. I think the word is a titter. So Reset Stamp, let's talk about it. Might as well go into it now. I know people were excited about me talking about this card. Your opponent shuffles their hand into their deck, then your opponent draws a card for each of their remaining prize cards. Why is this good? Why is this bad? It's good because we have a comeback card now. We have a card that can just really help you if your opponent's taking a bunch of really early aggression. So that's pretty nice. What why it's bad is because people think it's unhealthy for the game. I personally don't think so. My mentality is, this is not going to happen every game, right? But my mentality is, if you've played during the era where N was a supporter, you'll probably survive the reset stamp era, because N was a supporter, you had to play around the N, right? If you play expanded, you know you have to play around N. You can't just sit here and just like abuse all your resources. You can't just sit here and just take prizes as often as you can and like not strategically take your prizes anymore. It's all about strategy now. So this card kind of makes you think more about the game, the progression of the board state, as opposed to just, you know, taking prizes willy-nilly, just throwing down cards. Like it's all about like keeping your resources intact, giving you the best chances to draw out of situations. And now it's more important than ever to make sure you have like some sort of engine going, whether you have Jirachis down, whether you have cards like Zebstrika or Rangaroo, if you play Zoroark, things like that. There's ways around this that, and not to mention, there's a lot of draw supporters. We have 2 more sets before this thing comes out for us. 2 more sets in Japan. Actually, I think it's 3 maybe, because I know this. I know we're getting the next set in the same month as this set for like Golden Week or some shenanigans in Japan. We have too many comeback cards. Black Belt, Counter Energy, Reset Stamp, B-String, and new Garchomp. Well, that's different. Comeback cards means that like those are different, because those are effects of cards that can not necessarily let you come back in the game, but let you strategically go behind. Reset Stamp helps you come back in the game because you're immediately disrupting your opponent from winning the game. While things like Counter Catcher, Counter Energy, things like that, they don't immediately disrupt your opponent from winning the game. All they do is kind of like help you win the game, but doesn't help your opponent lose the game. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's how I see it. This card is so much stronger than all the counter cards that we've had, because it immediately disrupts your opponent and gives you a higher chance of winning based off your opponent like dead drawing. You know what I mean? But I don't think it's as unhealthy. I think because the only problem I'm having with this card is this set comes out a week before Worlds, and then Worlds happens, and then rotation happens, right? So after rotation, I think we're losing Cynthia. Are we losing Cynthia? I know we're losing Lele. So that's already like a huge out, but we also have Pokegear coming out as well. So you're probably going to be playing cards like Pokegear, which if you look at the top 7 cards of your deck and find a supporter. I think we're losing... I know Lily got reprinted as a full art in a different set, so we're probably keeping Lily, but I don't know if we're keeping Cynthia or not. I think we're keeping Cynthia. We have access to Erica. We have Tate and Liza. We have... What are some other decent draw supporters? We have quite a few amount of draw supporters. We have Zebstrika, which is discard your hand, draw 4. We have Jirachi. We have a lot of ways to get out of this set, out of this deck. You just have to realize that with this card being printed, the format itself is going to change to adjust to the fact that this card exists now. So people's decks have to start running engines more consistently and more often. You can't just play like blah, 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 and hopefully draw out of things. We're losing Guzma, but not Cynthia. All right, so we keep Cynthia, which is great. So we're losing Guzma, which kind of sucks. Dude, how are you going to win games without Guzma? Whatever. It just means that you have more room for consistency cards, right? But, yeah, that's how I see it at least. Like, we're going to keep all of our prominent draw supporters. The only draw support Pokemon we're losing, I think, is a Rangaroo, but we're definitely keeping Zebstrika. So that's good. And we still have access to Jirachi. So this card will be perfectly... I think this card will be fine. You just have to make sure that you don't lose your engines. Make sure you have plenty of engines down. If you start getting to that point where like a Reset Stamp is going to mess me up, boom, fix it. Easy money. I don't think Reset Stamp is as scary as people think it is, but it's definitely going to be really good. It's broken. It's busted, but not broken. How about that? We'll say that. All right, Black Belt. Let's talk about this. As a person who loves Lucario, any fighting type card is always worth a look. Attached to blah, blah, blah. If you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent, the attacks of the Pokemon this card is attached to cost of fighting energy less. Not super relevant to me because Lucario already has low attack cost, but pretty cool. It's a 1 fighting energy less, so this is essentially for, what's it called? Buzzwole, I think. I can't think of many other Pokemon that have exclusively fighting energy attack costs that you can't play counter gain with. You know what I mean? Because like I know Machamp Marshadow has fighting colorless, Lucario has fighting colorless, and GX attack is colorless. So And so all the Lycanrocs, I believe, are fighting colors of some kind. I guess that Garchomp has fighting. Doesn't that Garchomp have fighting colors that we saw? I'm pretty sure it's fighting colors. And Garchomp GX is fighting DCE. Or not Garchomp GX, the other Garchomp card. Yeah, this is fighting colorless. You could technically play it in Garchomp Giratina, and then you just don't play fighting energy at all and just make sure you're always behind on prizes, because that doesn't make any sense. Oh, and you know what I never talked about? This GX attack. Discard one of your opponent's Pokemon, and I should talk about this, because I completely forgot about talking about it, because I got so excited. I'll talk about it near the end, but the GX attack is actually worth talking about as well. Once again, I just don't think this card's good. I think in almost every scenario except Buzzwole, you're going to be using Counter Gain instead, and Counter Gain is more versatile, because it can work with a lot more Pokemon. So, Black Belt, whatever. Grimsley, move up to 3 damage counters from one of your Pokemon to another one of your opponent's Pokemon. From one of your opponent's Pokemon to another one of your opponent's Pokemon. Is this good? I don't think so. I think this card would have been better if they said move 3 damage counters from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another one of your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. Would have been so much better, because then you could put the 3 damage counters and one onto a bunch of different Pokemon, helping you with cards like Garchomp, Giratina, and just putting things in range of different Pokemon throughout the entire game. But it doesn't say that, so I'm not super interested in this. Obviously, there's going to be some niche issues against niche decks, but I think this card's pretty boring. But I can't wait to get the Fluorite, because Grimsley's a cool guy. He looks really dope. Coach Trainer. It's got Pikachu and Zekrom there. That's cute. Draw 2 cards. If your active Pokemon is a tag team Pokemon, draw 2 more cards. Okay, boring. Draw 4. Congratulations. A Viridian Forest, but for fire energies. Yay. Once during a turn, this card the player may discard a card from their hand. If they do, that player search for their deck for 2 fire energy cards, reveals them, and put them into their hand. Then that player shuffles their deck. So Baby Blacephalon is a good deck now. This deck just makes it even better. That's good. We have a bunch of alternate arts, I'm assuming. I think that's what the A means, right? This says C, so I'm thinking the A just means alternate arts. We have a really cool looking Escape Rope, a really cool looking Nest Ball, Rotom Dex, because that's a relevant card. It's got a switch there though, that's kind of cool. And Tate and Liza. So that's going to be the set, guys. I mean, let's talk about Giratina though one more time, because I just love this card, and I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm probably going to be playing this deck competitively, because Malamar doesn't rotate, and I really want a new... I'm sick of alternate Crossover, guys. It's boring to play. It's not fun anymore. Spread Giratina just doesn't work right now, so I want a good Malamar variant that's fun to play, because I've been sticking to Blacephalon, because Blacephalon's like faster and more brainless, and it's a lot more fun to play than Malamar right now, I'm not gonna lie. But Garchomp Giratina is great, and I'm really excited to play around. GG and GX. Now, discard one of your opponent's Pokemon, all cards attached to them. If this Pokemon has at least 3 extra fighting energy attached to it, discard 2 of your opponent's Pokemon, all cards attached to them. This is never gonna happen, but discard one of your opponent's Pokemon, all cards attached to them is a thing that could definitely happen, because guess what? Unlike cards like Tapu Fini and things like that, you can win the game with this attack. No knockout, no need for anything. All you gotta do is get rid of their last... Malamar does have Spell Tag too, so you can spread damage that way. Look at that, Confuse Ray with the big brains. Unlike those cards, that doesn't say your opponent has to have a bench Pokemon. You can just discard any of your opponent's Pokemon from anywhere on the board, including the active, and if it's their only Pokemon on the board, you win the game. I can guarantee you I'm going to win a handful of games with this one card by itself. It means you don't have to do any damage, you just straight up say goodbye. Oh look, you have no more Pokemon on your board, I win. So it's a GX attack that can definitely help you win the game. Is it great? I don't know. Is there other GX attacks you can play in Garchomp and Giratina GX? If you can fit other GX Pokemon into the deck, probably. Like, what would you play? You have access to Gengar Mimikyu. I think that's still a great card. Being able to GX them early game and then like stop them from playing a card while you set up your board, that doesn't seem bad. Once again, because it's a high HP Pokemon, you can play cards like Acerola. What other GX attacks options do you have? There's obviously any colorless attack cost GX attack. The Crossma GX. I guess you could play draw GX cards. Not super interested in that. I'm just trying to think of like cards that would work in the deck. If you play Necrozma, you have access to that infinite damage output if you really still want it, like the regular Necrozma. Although I'm pretty sure that card is rotating, so I don't know. Anyways, there's EV Snorlax. EV Snorlax is kind of hard to do because it's too many energies. Usually I play EV Snorlax in my DCE variants of Malamar, but this is definitely not going to be a DCE variant. Oh, And also, since you are playing fighting energy, you have access to cards that abuse fighting energy, like Baby Buzzwole, like what's it called, Swing Around Buzzwole, or whatever the Pokemon's called. Is there any other fighting? Oh, you could always play, what's it called? Marshadow GX, the fighting type Marshadow GX, and uses GX attack. Oh, that could be your GX attack of choice, right? Because I think it does 50 for each basic energy attached to the Marshadow. So you can actually use its legitimate GX attack. So that's pretty cool. If there's any other fighting type Pokemon you could play, you can throw those in too. If you want to be spicy, you can throw in that fighting type Stadium that increases your damage output, although it's completely unnecessary. I just think it's cool. I think it's going to be a new window to a new powerful deck. I'm really excited to see what it has to offer for us. That's going to be the deck profile. That's going to not be the deck profile. That's going to be the set profile. Thank you, PokeBeach, for having an awesome website. Thank you, Guardian Gaming, as always. Where is my boys? Don't forget to check them out. Use code ORABOMB for some cents off your codes. It's like 10% off or something right now. I know it's something crazy. So that's really, really cool. And they're going to be selling the new set stuff soon if they haven't started already, so that's pretty dope. Don't forget to check me out on the Patreon. Support. Oh, look at that. Shout outs to my Patreons, Patrick, Benadel, which was just today, I think, and Kayan Oladi. So shout outs to you guys. Hopefully you don't mind having your names on the screen. I don't think it matters too much. And yeah. I think that's going to be it, guys. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to talk about. Don't forget to like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe, show all the good jazz. I want to start shouting out my Patreons at the end of the video because, you know, might as well thank you guys for all the support you give to me. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.